Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me properly? Good evening. Yes, everybody can hear me properly. That means to say, and we are going to start with this topic, risk management. Okay, so uh, this topic is very important from theory point of view because three chapters which I majorly saw that they have been asking a lot of questions, rather four chapters. Okay, first. Yes, okay, thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm saying is that four chapters are very important, used to be very important. Now that we are going to appear for this new curriculum for the first time, we do not know the trend at this point of time. The only thing that we can do is prepare to the best level. उसके अलावा हम कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते हैं. Okay, तो we should not leave any stone unturned in terms of the preparation. Don't ask me, ma'am, can I leave this question? Can I leave this chapter? Can I leave this? Because I do not have any answers with respect to that. The only thing I would suggest, and I'm a very risk averse person, very risk averse person. Okay, so if I were you, I would want to cover maximum possible, because even if there is a 0.01 probability of that question coming in the paper, I would not leave, because I do not want to waste my 6 months at all. I hope you agree with me. So don't leave. Okay, try. I'm not saying कि जबरदस्ती करना ही पड़ेगा. Try करो, जितना हो सके नहीं छोड़ के जाना पेपर के अंदर में. वो अच्छी बात नहीं होती. इट्स नॉट अ गुड आइडिया टू लीव एनी पोर्शन और फॉर दैट मैटर एनी क्वेश्चन. सी द रीजन इज दैट एक तो हमें वही पता नहीं है कि अननोन क्या आने वाला है. वी डू नॉट नो व्हाट इज द अननोन लाइंग देयर. ओके, ऑलरेडी. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Harsh. Good evening, Sakshi. Good evening, Mukul. Everybody, good morning. Okay, so already there is some fear of unknown. Okay, that is risk. That is what we are going to study today. Okay, and then if you leave something already, kind of, जो पता है वो भी अगर छोड़ के जाते हो तुम, suppose I know this is the portion and still I leave some portion, so you are trying to increase the probability of non-performance in the paper. So at least try to cover everything what you know, what is in front of your eyes. Don't try to take a chance on that part. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start with the topic risk management. Very important topic from theory perspective. They have been asking many questions, but I want to share something with you. Last 2 days I have been doing a lot of research on the part that what kind of questions can they ask on this topic. So there was a paper, elective paper, that used to be called as 6A, risk management, correct now? So I went through all the case studies there also, but the size of the case studies which they have given there, it's very lengthy. ओके, समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ? मैं कह रही हूँ कि लास्ट 2 दिन में मैंने बहुत रिसर्च किया है. वन मोर थिंग, all the students who cannot understand Hindi at all, don't have to worry at all, because whatever I'm speaking in Hindi, I am going to speak in English. So if you don't understand, just relax. Don't run away that, okay, मुझे समझा नहीं अभी क्या है. Okay, don't do that. Just stay there. Okay, you will be getting everything. So what I wanted to tell here is that I will naturally speak some amount of Hindi because I'm staying in North India, so that's a comfort language for me. Okay, so मैं क्या कहना चाह रही हूँ, लास्ट 2 दिन में मैंने बहुत रिसर्च किया. There used to be a paper called 6A risk management, and I went through all the case studies given there, everything I went through. Okay, if I could get something of value for this particular chapter, because we do not have any idea what they're going to ask in the this May 24 paper in terms of the variety of the questions. Okay, but the size of the case studies are very lengthy, like 2 pages. So I really doubt that such kind of lengthy case studies would be asked in the AFM paper. It is not possible, and I also could not see any multiple choice question on those questions, and that is why I left that. Okay, and in fact, what have I done? I prepared a few questions the way we did for the first chapter, and I added all the MCQs of this topic from the ICI portal. I hope that works good for you, all of you. Okay, so risk management. What do you understand by risk, all of you? Risk, what I understand is the probability that I would not get what I thought. समझा मैंने क्या बोला? रिस्क किसको कहते हो तुम? सबसे पहले अपने दिमाग में ये समझो, व्हाट डू यू कॉल एज रिस्क? Risk is the probability of not getting what you thought. For example, I'll start this topic. This is a small topic. It will get over very fast. Don't have to worry about that. Okay. So basically, suppose karo, I bought a stock in the market. Okay, I thought that this company, and the price of the stock is suppose 100 rupees, and I thought that this company is going to put up a project. Okay, so in 1 year the project will be done and the company will start having higher amount of revenues, but because of some reason, maybe government license or government some policy, something, the company could not complete the project. I bought the share because of that, and I thought the price of the stock will become 200 at the end of the year. Okay, but that was only possible if the company was able to complete the project. But प्रोजेक्ट तो खत्म हो नहीं पाया बिकॉज कोई लाइसेंस का इश्यू हो गया, कुछ और हो गया, उसकी वजह से प्रोजेक्ट खत्म नहीं हुआ. ओके, मे बी लाइक डिले हो गया 6 months से 8 months से, एंड द प्राइस ऑफ द स्टॉक ओके डिड नॉट इंक्रीज मच बिकॉज इवेंचुअली अगर रेवेन्यू जनरेशन नहीं होती, इफ द कंपनी वॉज एबल टू कंप्लीट द प्रोजेक्ट एंड जनरेट सम मोर अमाउंट ऑफ रेवेन्यूज देन बिफोर, द प्राइस वुड हैव इंक्रीज्ड पॉसिबली. बट हियर द प्रोजेक्ट डिड नॉट कंप्लीट ओनली, and that is why the stock price could increase only up to 125. This is risk. So the probability that I will not be able to achieve what I thought is risk. Risk is uncertainty. You are also going through risk. The probability that you would not be able to get questions what you prepared in the examination is risk, and that is why you are uncomfortable. Human beings do not like risk. Human beings like, they like certainty. They don't like uncertainty. Biologically, human beings do not like uncertainty. They like certainty. So you cannot eliminate that risk. It is not possible. Elimination of risk is a wrong word. You can only try to manage risk. You can only try to bring that risk to a bearable level actually. Like if you are the breadwinner of the family and you're scared that if you go out someday and if something happens, you can buy an insurance, but you cannot eliminate that risk. Okay, so if you are scared that I will not be able to pass, I will not be able to write the exam or something like that, then the only way to hedge, the word is hedge, is you can study as much possible. So we are talking about risk management. What I understand, guys, that, okay, are you able to understand, all of you guys? Are you able to understand everything? Tell me please, are you able to understand? Mitigate, yes, mitigate risk. Okay, so let's start this risk management. So what I think is that I have tried to summarize this topic in very short actually. So what I will do here, I will just like I'll show you something. Okay, great. Okay, बहुत अच्छा. यहाँ notes लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है? मैं कुछ दिखाती हूँ तुमको. So what they have done, I'll take a blue color. Risk. You can note down if you feel like. Risk. And then what have they done? They have divided the risk. So I introduced what is risk to you. Correct? Ria, if it is taking too much, Ria is asking, ma'am, it is taking too much of time to do one question. Ria, if you are taking time now, you will not take time there. So it is better that you keep doing every day. There is no, if you are not doing because it is taking too much of time, then you will not be able to write in the paper also. So it is better that it is taking time here. यहाँ पे लगने दो टाइम, वहाँ यहाँ पे लग रहा है तो वहाँ नहीं लगेगा. अगर यहाँ पे नहीं लगाओगे टाइम तो वहाँ पे करना भी मुश्किल हो जाएगा. इसलिए डोंट बी स्केर्ड कि टाइम लग रहा है, लगने दो टाइम जो लग रहा है. इट इज ओके. ओके, सो रिस्क. So what they have, how they have started the topic, I told you that I will not deviate from the curriculum at all, because the main agenda of this particular lectures are to help you cover the module the way it is. Okay, so I'm just trying to, this topic could have been in 100 pages also, lekin we will stick to 10 pages what they have given. I will not deviate at all. Okay, chalo. Risk. So they have given strategy risk, then they have given compliance risk. मैं क्या कर रही हूँ पता है क्या, मैं उसको समराइज कर दे रही हूँ. तो पूरा का पूरा 10 पेजेस का टॉपिक तुम्हारा यूं तुमको डायग्राम में दिख जाएगा, लाइक अ फ्लो चार्ट. कंप्लायंस रिस्क, देन यू हैव ऑपरेशंस रिस्क, ऑपरेशनल रिस्क, Okay, then you have financial risk. And again, they have divided this financial risk into, I'll just change the color, counterparty risk. Okay, then they have also included political risk. Okay, maybe I will try to shorten it up. Okay, then they have taken here exchange rate risk, exchange rate risk. Then they have taken interest rate risk, and they have also taken liquidity risk. So my agenda is that you should not only be able to solve like the MCQs given in the case studies, you should also be able to solve for the theory questions that they are asking. And we will try to pick up the keywords as much given in the module only, because then only you're going to get marks. If suppose the question is for 4 marks, why should I get 2 marks for that matter? I should be able to get at least 3.5 in that question. So the main agenda is that I am able to cover up all the theory required in the paper. See, एक बात का ध्यान रखना, if you are able to score those 30 marks, around 30 में से 20 भी अगर आ गया ना, तो exemption would be very, very easy for you. Okay, because now this theory part becomes a very, very important integral part of your paper. So we cannot escape now. Previously we could like manage without doing too much of theory. Abhi, if you want to score well, you will have to be equally good on the practical part and theory. And one more thing, practical part, any which ways you cannot predict too much, because what kind of question are they going to ask, we do not know at all. So if you are good on both, you will not कुछ और निकले नहीं निकले, एएफएम तो निकल ही जाएगा तुम्हारा कम से कम, ये ध्यान रखना तुम. तो वो सोच करके करो. ओके, रट्टा मारना है मारो, जो करना है करो, बट करना है हमें, राइट? So basically I have done this. So this has been divided into like this. Now I'll start explanation. Let's come. So please click a picture, whatever you feel like. I'll come back again and you can take a, या तो लिख लो या फिर कुछ करो. मैं बोलना शुरू करती हूँ. First of all, risk. What is risk? I told you. Now what is the strategy risk? I will try to speak as much keywords given in the module only. मुझे उसके लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ी. I have to like mug up a few things the way you are supposed to mug up. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Okay, now what is strategy risk? So they say that what they say, okay, they say that in order to become successful, any business has to have, pick up the words, okay, any business has to have a comprehensive and detailed strategy. Words क्या आया? Comprehensive and detailed strategy. याद कर लो मेरे साथ में. It will be good for you. So they say that in order to make a business successful, you need to have a comprehensive and a detailed strategy. मैं आऊंगी strategy किसको कहते हैं. Okay. Now, even if you have a very comprehensive and well laid down strategy, there is a possibility that you will not be able to achieve your goals if you are not able to keep up with the pace of the environment. समझा मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? I'm saying that even if you have a very, very well laid down strategy, okay, pick up the words again, you will not be able to achieve your goals because your environment is changing every minute, every second, every month, every day. Okay, what are those changes, ma'am? The changes could be technological changes. Maybe there is a big competition entering into the market, increase in the prices of the raw materials, or maybe shift in the demand of the consumer, and many more things. I can repeat if you want. I said that in order to become successful, every business needs to have a very comprehensive and detailed strategy. But even if the company has got a well comprehensive and well laid down strategies, it is quite possible that it will not be able to achieve the goals because things are changing. It has to keep up with the pace of the changing dynamics actually. And the changes could be, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है इसके अंदर में. उन्होंने 4 बोला है, मैं 4 ही बोलूंगी. Technological changes, remember with me, technological changes. Number 2, there is an entry of new competition, increase in the prices of the raw material, or shift in the choice of the consumer. The best example, they have given 3 examples. Number 1, they have given the example of Kodak, okay, so Kodak that used with the camera, okay. So in 1975, they had already come with a digital thing, okay, but they did not introduce that, as a result of which what happened, when the mobile phones came, Kodak was out of the market. Then number 2, they gave the best example in the market of the strategy is, you know what, Nokia. The CEO of the Nokia says that we did not do anything wrong, but things did not work for us. So they did not innovate, they did not change the strategy as per the business strategy rather. They did not shift to the touch phones, the smartphones actually. And that is why Samsung took over, they had to get out of the market. And the best example in the positive sense is Xerox machines. So, previously we did not used to have Xerox machines. Do you know that Xerox is the name of the company? But they have become so popular and well established in the market, keeping up with the pace of the market dynamics that then, हम जो कॉपी करते हैं ना, हम जो कॉपी कराते हैं उसको भी हम Xerox बोलते हैं. Okay, for example, Coke and Pepsi and Thumbs Up are so popular in the market that the brand has become a proper noun for us. मतलब common noun एक proper noun बन गया तुमको, या proper noun common noun बन गया, rather ऐसे बोलेंगे तो ज़्यादा better होगा. मतलब अगर तुम्हें कोई drink पीनी है, soft drink हम क्या बोलते हैं, Thumbs Up पीना है क्या? Actually, maybe we always do not mean a thumbs up. We might mean a lemonade. We might mean a kind of that orange drink. I don't know. I don't have all these drinks, and that is why I'm not too sure of the names. Tank, bache peete, and then that white one, that is Sprite and all that. Okay, correct. So business strategy, matlab when the market dynamics are changing, you have to change your business strategies. Okay, but changing the business strategy might not always lead to positive results. It might lead to negative results also. You wanted to match with the pace of the market, but you were not successful. This is extra what I'm talking. मुझे एक बार ये पूरा कहने दो. Allow me to speak everything, all these words, the keywords I have written. Correct. Colgate instead of toothpaste. Yes, perfect example. Okay. So basically, मुझे इन सब पे बोलने दो. उसके बाद मैं जा करके तुमको underline करा दूँगी. Okay. Then compliance risk. What is compliance risk? Guys, ये whatever they have given, no, 4. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. There can be many more. But since they have given 4, we will do only 4. Relax. Okay. Compliance risk. Compliance risk is following the rules and regulations of the government. Simple. So they say that after the Companies Act of 2013 and regular updation of the guidelines by SEBI, there are a plethora means a number of rules, regulations and guidelines which businesses have to follow. If they do not follow and comply to these guidelines and laws and regulations, there can be fine, there can be imprisonment, and it can be both. Important point. Can you give an example of compliance risk? अभी example दे सकते हो क्या? सबसे बड़ा failure of compliance risk. अभी recent example. Tell me. Tell me, what is a recent example of failure in the compliance? And that company has been banned. I'm giving the hint. Banned by the government, by the RBI to operate their payment bank. Yes, perfect. Paytm. But Paytm was like messing up with the regulatory bodies. Like they were intentionally messing up with the regulatory bodies. ऐसा नहीं कि उनसे गलती हो गई. उनसे गलती नहीं हुई है, वो मैस कर रहे थे उनके साथ में. Correct, perfect example. So this is compliance risk. You can be out of the business if you are not very good. Everybody knows that answer, Paytm. Okay, they were intentionally messing up with the regulatory bodies and hence, so it is not good for any business. देखो एक बात ना हिंदी में बोलूँगी. जब finance पढ़ते हो ना, तो हम लोग बनिया हैं. हमारा काम होता है वेल्थ क्रिएशन करना, मैक्सिमाइज करना वैल्यू को. जा करके लड़ाई झगड़ा करना हमारा काम नहीं होता है. Okay, so you have to be compliant with the regulatory bodies of the in the market, and then only you can grow, because ultimate bodies हैं वो, तुम उनके साथ mess नहीं कर सकते. But here one more thing that they have written, मैंने क्या बोला? So compliance with the regulatory rules and regulations is compliance risk. If you do not follow those rules, you can be facing a fine, you can be facing an imprisonment, or it can be both. They have written there. Okay, and then they've written one more thing. वहाँ पे एक और point लिखा है. The point says that there is quite a possibility that many times we are not aware of the regulations and the guidelines. Actually, they've given an example. They say that suppose there is a cement company. It is wanting to open a business into sugar industry in another state, but the rules for the sugar industry is different from the cement rules. Okay, and maybe because of the ignorance, they might face compliance risk. So compliance risk is basically the risk of not adhering to the regulations, the policies, and the government guidelines basically. And as a result of that, you might face a lot of heat from the government side. That is compliance risk. Okay, very good. Then operational risk. याद रखना मैं क्या बोलने वाली हूँ, ठीक है? Operational risk. What is operational risk? Operational risk is more internal. पहले सुनो, उसके बाद अंडरलाइन कराने वाली हूँ, चिंता नहीं करो. ज़्यादा बड़ा टॉपिक है नहीं, 1 घंटे में खत्म हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. So operational risk, it has more to do with internal type of risk. I'm emphasizing on the keyword. It has more to do with internal risk actually. The inability of the business or an organization to meet with its internal problems. Okay, it is called operational risk. It can be related to people, it can be related to process. They have given one example, same quote kar rahi hu. Suppose you were supposed to pay 10,000 to somebody, to some vendor, and by mistake you paid 1 lakh. Okay, that is operational risk. So again, the inability of the company to manage their internal problems, okay, related to processes or people, is called operational risk. Yaad rahega? Then financial risk. Financial risk is risk related to the change in the financial conditions. I will speak a lot on this topic because I've given a lot of information on this topic. What is financial risk? So financial risk can be related to the prices, it can be related to interest rate, it can be related to exchange rate, it can be related to the liquidity or something, it can be related to a political party. So basically financial risk is risk which can change the financial conditions, is financial risk. And they have also written one thing there, that political risk is not directly a financial risk, but because of the kind of political situation in a foreign country, you will have to have a huge amount of losses. And that is why मतलब basically कहने का क्या मतलब हुआ कि political risk directly तुम्हारा financial risk create नहीं करता है, लेकिन अगर मान लो किसी दूसरी कंट्री में तुमने इन्वेस्ट कर रखा है, तो वहां की पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन अगर चेंज होती है तो उसकी वजह से तुमको लॉस हो सकता है, तो फाइनेंशियल लॉस ही होगा ना. एंड दैट इज व्हाई पॉलिटिकल रिस्क इज आल्सो इनडायरेक्टली कैन लीड टू फाइनेंशियल रिस्क. गाइस, आर यू ऑल गुड? करेक्ट, यू कैन से दैट प्रशांत. Yes, you can say that. You can say that. Ukraine war, you can say that. You should definitely quote examples when you're writing these theories. All of you are good, guys? Can we move ahead now? So, मैं अब आ जाती हूँ यहाँ पे 0 पे आ जाते हैं. Start. Okay, look at this now. So, strategic risk. मैं इसलिए करा रही हूँ so that you can revise along with me, because I just spoke. You cannot hold on to that kind of information that much. So once I start making you underline everything, you will settle down. So I am sure you are happy with it. Okay, everybody is saying we are good. Fine, very good. That's what is expected out of you. Okay, a business organization faces many types of risk. Important among them are discussed as below. A successful business always needs a comprehensive, look at that, comprehensive and detailed business plan. Everyone knows that a successful business needs a comprehensive, well thought out business plan, but it also has fact of life that things change. Even the best laid plans can become outdated. It cannot keep, if it cannot keep the pace with the latest trend. That is what is called strategic risk. That means your business is not able to keep up with the pace of the changing trends. It is called strategic business risk basically. So strategic risk is a risk in which a company's strategy becomes less effective and it struggles to achieve the goal. It can be because of the technological changes, new competition, shifts in the consumer demand, and increase in the cost of raw materials. That is what four points I said in the strategic risk. And they've given the example of, guys, look at this, Xerox ka example diya, and they've also given the example of Nokia. You can go through later on. I've already spoken on that. Let's not waste time. Then the next one is every business needs to comply with the rules and the regulations. For example, with the advent of Companies Act 2013 and continuous updating of SEBI guidelines, each business organization is to comply with a plethora of rules, regulations, and guidelines. Non-compliance leads to penalties in the form of fine and imprisonment. We talked about that. Okay, and they also said that, however, when a company ventures into the new business line or new geographical area, the real problem then occurs. For example, a company pursuing cement business likely to venture into sugar business in different state, but loss applicable. So गलती से भी हो सकता है, but you know, ignorance is like is ignorant. अगर तुम ignorant हो law से, तो वो उससे तुमको रेस्पाइट नहीं मिलेगा, तुम फ्री नहीं हो सकते, तुमको सजा तो होगी उसकी वजह से. So it is better that you should be aware of all the compliance and laws and rules and guidelines before you enter into the new business or for something that matter. Correct. Very good. Now, the next one, operational risk, when they say that this type of risk relates to the internal risk, it also relates to the failure on the part of the company to cope up with the day-to-day operational problems, people as well as processes. यहाँ पे example दिया, वापस देख लेना. Now, financial risk. Financial risk is referred to as unexpected changes in the financial conditions. लिखा हुआ है. Prices, exchange rate, credit rating, interest rate, and so on. Though political risk is not a financial risk in direct sense, रिया ने जैसे यूक्रेन का बोला, okay, sense, but same can be included as unexpected political change in the foreign country, which can lead to financial losses to you actually. And again, देखो यहाँ पे ध्यान देना, कितनी सारे दिया ना इन लोगों ने, देखो counterparty risk, political risk, interest rate risk, currency risk, and liquidity risk. I'm going to talk on this, all of this. Okay. So what is counterparty risk? I'll talk in that same language. So counterparty risk is basically honoring of the obligations will lead to counterparty risk. They've given two examples here. Number one, suppose you paid money to some vendor and he fails to deliver goods and services to you. That means you are facing counterparty risk. Or in case somebody has borrowed money from you or you have lent money to someone, but he fails to repay the amount and the interest as well. That is counterparty risk. But if you have lent a very big amount to someone, it can lead to the collapse of your business also. So counterparty is non-honoring of the obligation is called counterparty risk. Be relaxed on that. So default risk and credit risk will be a part of this. Look at this. देखो यहाँ लिखा हुआ है. And यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है non-honoring of the obligations. Done, guys? Now, political risk. What is political risk? So, basically, this type of risk, सुनना ध्यान से, ये बहुत important है, ये वाला, ये important है. Okay, so political risk. What is political risk? Political risk is faced by people who have invested outside the country. Correct? Naturally. I mean, we are talking about more to do with the foreign country ka. Okay. So basically what can happen to you? Confiscation and destruction of your property. Okay. Then they can ration on the remittance of the money. मतलब समझ रहा है मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ? The properties that you own in a foreign country, that can be that they can confiscate those properties or they can expropriate those properties. Then there can be rationing on the remittance. Means whatever you have earned, you cannot like send that money home at one point of time. For example, you earned $1,000, you cannot send at one shot. That is called capital account restrictions, we call it. Okay, they have not given, I will not talk about that. Okay, so there can be restrictions on that. Then there can be like price fixation. They will say that आपको इसी price पे sell करना पड़ेगा. Then there can be restriction on the borrowings. There can be invalidation of the patents. साथ में बोलो अच्छा रहेगा वरना याद नहीं होगा. So what is political risk? Political risk with me. Political risk is usually faced by the investors overseas. That is the word that we have used. So what kind of risk? Number one, there can be confiscation or destruction of the property that you have built outside. There can be a restriction on the remittance of your cash flows to your home country. Number three, there can be like invalidation of the patents. Okay, the patents that you have developed or you are using them to manufacture something or selling something, they will invalidate. For example, तुम्हारे पास में कोई FDA का कुछ license वगैरह था, उसको cancel कर दिया, then क्या करोगे तुम? Okay, that kind of restriction actually. Then they can say that you cannot sell below this price. Fixation of the price. Okay, how many they have given? They've given 6. 4 हमने बोला. And price control of the products and all that. So maybe they can restrict you to they can restrict you to convert the currency. Suppose you're operating in USA, they will restrict you to convert the currency of US into Russian currency possibly. So these kind of risk, I would ask you or request you that please remember 4 at least. You don't need to remember all of them. It will not be possible for you to remember all of them. It is not possible. So number 1, destruction and confiscation. Number 2, price fixation, invalidation of the patents, and restriction on the remittance. Okay, and 1, 2, if you can recall there, it is perfectly fine. Yes, then interest rate risk. So basically guys, interest rate risk is risk. Usually this risk would be related to the assets and liabilities. Mind my language. The interest rate risk is usually related to the assets and liabilities which are sensitive to the interest rates. This risk is mostly faced by banking companies and NBFCs because their assets and liabilities are sensitive to the interest rates. So with the change in the interest rates, the spread that they are earning, they give loans at a higher rate and accept deposits at a lower rate. But if the rates are changing, if they are facing interest rate risk, this spread can get hurt. समझ में आया मैंने क्या बोला? Also some companies can face interest rate risk. Suppose you borrowed money at a floating rate. Suppose you borrowed money at a floating rate and the interest rates went up. Then your cost of funds, your interest cost will increase, thereby hurting your margins. That is interest rate risk. Okay, very good, very good. What is currency risk? Currency risk is risk faced by all the business organizations whose either inflows or outflows or both are in terms of foreign currencies. For example, if you're an exporter, if you're an importer, if you're a borrower from foreign company or you're an investor in the foreign company, then you are facing currency risk because sometimes it is good also. I'm sure all of you know that when for example, if I'm in India, okay, I'm an exporter, if rupee per dollar rate depreciates, what is depreciation? Answer का जवाब, question का जवाब देना. What is depreciation of rupee? 83 becoming 85 or 83 becoming 82? Answer please. 83 becoming 85 or 83 becoming 82? Which one is depreciation of rupee? Answer please. जवाब दो. Yes, 83 becoming 85 is called depreciation of rupee and appreciation of dollar. Very good, very good. All of you will, I think all of you will pass only this time. Okay, very good. That's very, very good. That means if rupee, sometimes it is very, very good for, maybe if rupee depreciates, it is good for the exporters because for every $1, they are now going to get not 83 but 85. So that increases. Suppose 1 lakh ka agar hai, if $1 lakh is about to come to your country because you've exported something, then you are going to earn 2 rupees per dollar more, which becomes like 2 lakh rupees more actually. Okay. He's laughing. It's okay. So basically financial risk, you understood, change in the financial conditions like interest rate, then exchange rate, then prices and all that will lead to the change in the financial conditions and will create financial risk for you. And it has got number 1, the political risk, counterparty risk, interest rate risk, exchange rate risk, and liquidity risk. Now what is liquidity risk? Give me a second please. क्या लिखा है? This risk occurs due to change in the interest rate resulting in the change in the assets and liabilities. Yes, I'm moving to Forex. That's my favorite topic. This risk is more important for banking companies as their balance sheet items are more sensitive and their base of earning is spread between, we already discussed that, right? And they've given like fixed and floating. So suppose there is a company which has borrowed funds in floating rate and if the interest rates go up, it is going to face a very good it is going to face increase in the interest cost or cost of funds, okay, which will decrease their margins, but depends how much money will have they borrowed. Okay, then currency risk. This risk mainly affects the organization dealing in foreign exchange. Their cash flows changes with the movement in the currency exchange rates. We already discussed that, guys. You can just go have a read and you will be sorted. Now, liquidity risk. What is liquidity risk? Liquidity risk is basically the inability of an organization to meet its payments when it becomes due. फिर से repeat कर रही हूँ. Inability of an organization to make the payments when it becomes due. Why? Because possibly they are generating less cash than required, or there is a mismatch in the cash flows. This could be the reason of liquidity risk. Liquidity risk faced by the banking company. Look at that. So this risk mainly arises when organization is unable to generate adequate cash, or maybe some mismatch in the period of cash flow generation. Okay, it is written, this type of risk is more prevalent in banking business, where there may be mismatch in the maturities and receiving fresh deposits pattern. Guys, many times it also happens. Do you know something about asset liability management of a bank? So basically, if they get deposits for 6 months, they cannot use that deposit to give a loan for 2 years. Because if after 6 months, when the client comes to ask for money, you do not have that money because you have given somebody as loan. Okay, so if you have not gotten fresh deposits for 6 months, then you are going to face a lot of liquidity risk for that matter. That is what they are saying here. Okay, very good. Now, evaluation of financial risk. Over ho gaya, khatam. Now, evaluation of financial risk. What is evaluation of financial risk? So in this topic, they are saying financial risk from the perspective of the stakeholders, financial risk from the perspective of the company, and financial risk from the perspective of the government. Don't forget, I'll write here. So from the perspective of stakeholders, okay, then from the perspective of like companies, okay, and from the perspective of government. The first stakeholders, I'll talk about this. So they say that perfect, very good. Okay, now evaluation of financial risk from the perspective of the stakeholders. Suppose equity and debt. There are two kinds of stakeholders in a company. Okay, so equity will face financial risk when the capital gearing ratio of the company is too high. That means debt equity ratio of the company is very high. As a result of that, what will happen? In case the company has to liquidate, the equity will be लीस्ट प्रायोरिटाइज्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ द पेमेंट. समझा क्या बोला? इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि अगर कंपनी तुम्हारी लिक्विडेशन में चली गई तो अगर कुछ बचेगा तो इक्विटी वालों को मिलेगा, वरना कुछ भी नहीं मिलने वाला है. ओके, दैट इज लाइक that is a risk being faced by the equity. But at the same time, even the debt holders are facing financial risk. Why? Because if the company has borrowed too much, it is quite a possibility that you will not be able to get your full amount, because when the company goes for liquidation or something like that, or if the company is not making too much of money in terms of the revenues, then it will not be able to pay off the repayment part and the interest to all of them properly. So the financial risk for the stakeholders, for the equity, is too much of borrowing will lead it to the least amount of priority in case the company goes for liquidation. Okay, and for the debt holders, if the company borrows too much, they will not be able to get the full amount or even the interest payment, because बहुत सारे लोगों को पैसे देने रहेंगे उनको. ठीक है? Then from the company's point of view, if the company has borrowed excessively, okay, and if it is not able to pay, or if it has lent excessively and it is not getting the money back, both the situations it can collapse. Excessive borrowing, excessive lending. Excessive borrowing, not able to pay. Excessive lending, not able to receive the money back. Both the situations can lead to financial risk and collapse of the company. Okay, then government. Government faces financial risk when some bank like Lehman Brothers when some bank fails or not able to fulfill the obligations, then a government is facing financial risk, because it will break the confidence of the people in general. समझा क्या बोला मैंने? अगर कोई बैंक फेल कर जाएगी ना, या कोई फाइनेंस कंपनी अगर फेल कर जाती है, तो जो जनरल लोगों का कॉन्फिडेंस है ना तुम्हारे बैंकिंग सिस्टम में, बैंकिंग सिस्टम इज द बैकबोन ऑफ एनी इकोनॉमी, अगर उसमें लोगों का विश्वास खराब हो गया ना तो गवर्नमेंट के लिए बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है टू रन दिस इकोनॉमी. एन एक्सटेंडेड गवर्नमेंट रिस्क वुड बी द सोवरन क्राइसिस लाइक श्रीलंका. Guys, all of you are good. काफी फास्ट जा रहा है. It's going quite good. But are you able to like understand all this? Please tell me, because I need to know from stakeholders. Look at this from stakeholders point of view. Okay, major stakeholders of business are equity shareholders and they financial gearing. Correct now? Ratio of debt in capital structure of the company as risk, since in the event of winding up, the company will be least prioritized. Okay. Okay, great. Then even for lender, existing gearing is also a risk, since company having high gearing, okay, faces more risk in default of the payment of interest and principal repayment. Very good. Thank you so much. Let's continue. From the company's point of view, if you think from the company's point of view, okay. Yes. Very good. Okay. From the company's point of view, if a company borrows excessively or lend it to someone who defaults, then it will be forced to go into liquidation, both the situations. Then from government point of view, okay, if you think from the government point of view, from the government's point of view, the financial risk can be viewed as a failure of any bank. Wait a minute. Failure of any bank, okay. देखो लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, like Lehman Brothers, or downgrading of any financial institution, spread of distrust among the society at large. Even this risk also includes, I will not talk about this, extended to sovereign debt crisis. And we are done, guys. So these are the key words, guys, that so evaluation of financial risk from the stakeholders point of view, company's point of view, and from the government point of view. And we are sorted here again. Then what is value at risk or VAR? Very important topic actually. You will be asked at least one question on this topic. So I told you I'll teach something very good in this topic. Give me some time. Let me finish this topic, the theory part and all the questions. Then if you want, I can discuss a practical part of it in slight, like thoda sa, if you want at all. Okay, then value at risk. So what is value at risk? They have written that as per Wikipedia, I am trying to reproduce the same language. It is difficult actually, because I can speak anything for that matter, but I cannot, because I want you to stick here only. Okay. Now, as per Wikipedia, value at risk is a measure of risk of investment. Again, repeat with me. As per Wikipedia, what is given to you in the book is, it is the measure of risk of investment. It will help you calculate the maximum loss your investment has to, the maximum loss that you will bear on an investment or a trading position in a given time period, like maybe a day or a week. समझा मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? ये कह रहे हैं कि विकिपीडिया में ये लिखा हुआ है that value at risk is a measure of risk of investment. So risk of investment is the keyword here. Okay, then it helps you calculate the maximum loss that you can face on a trading position or on a portfolio. Okay, देखो लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, might lose. Look at this. So VAR is a measure of risk of investment. Say one day it estimates how much an investment might lose. It answers two questions. What will be the worst scenario and what will be the loss? Now this is important again. They can ask you question, features of VAR. Okay, what are the features of VAR? ये तुमको याद करना पड़ेगा, कोई choice ही नहीं है. So what are the features of VAR? Now, components of calculation, they have given, you know how many? 6 they have given. So you will be, the words that they have used here, the words that they have used are more or less the words that we use in the VAR calculation. So you'll have to build up a story around that only. Okay, so the first one is component of the calculation. What do you use in the calculations of VAR? Number one, you use time period. Time is very important. Okay. Number two, you will use what? The confidence level. Yeah, same as formula. Yes, you can say that. So components of calculation will be your like confidence level, because without confidence, कितने लोगों को ये पता है कि suppose करो कि VAR 5% बोला, अगर VAR 5% बोला तो 5% is called level of significance. Level of significance, okay, and 95% is called confidence level. These are the technical language for this. क्या बोला मैंने? If they write VAR 5%, okay, it means 5% is level of significance and 95% is confidence level. They are different technical words for each one of them. So when I say, for example, suppose I say that 5% daily VAR is $10,000. Okay, so ऐसे लिखा हुआ है. 5% daily VAR is suppose $10,000. How do you interpret this? This means that there is a 5% probability, okay, that the loss will be 10,000 or more on any given day. There is a 95% probability that the loss will be less than $10,000 or there will be a gain. समझा मैंने क्या बोला? फिर से रिपीट कर रही हूँ. Suppose I give you a sentence, okay, that is how I teach in the class also. So if there are students who have done from me, they already know this, but I'm telling in general, सबका revision हो जाएगा. Suppose I write one statement that VAR daily 5% daily VAR is $10,000. इतना लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है? How do you interpret this? This means there is a 5% probability that your losses will be $10,000 or more on any given day. There is a 95% chance that the losses will be less than $10,000 or there will be a gain. Did you understand this, guys, all of you? So guys, I want to tell you that we have like in the chat box, okay, of today's chat box mein, we have provided a link. Okay, the link is about, what is the link all about? The link is consisting of the playlist. The playlist has got the lectures of AFM, all the topics, the total crash course of 50 hours that I took for November 23 in Hindi. So you can, और वहाँ पे, if you go to the description box of every lecture, the sheet or the PDF is given there. Speed बढ़ाओ और फटाक से खत्म करो. लिख के सम्स कराएं, बहुत सारे सम्स कराएं. शीट्स बहुत अच्छी हैं. So the playlist is of the 50-hour revision of AFM of the practical part. Theory we are doing here. Practical you can do from there. There is no change in the portion at all except for capital budgeting. Capital budgeting videos are being uploaded on the YouTube. Everything I have given you there. So you can prepare the whole of the AFM on YouTube of Khetan Education only. Okay? So you can use those playlists, आराम से पढ़ो, one day you can finish all of the lectures and they are proper. I did not take the practical part ka revision again because what is the point of repeating the whole thing again and again? So I thought that, see, both cannot be done na, because there is a time constraint for everything. So I thought that let me perform on the theory part so the students can combine the lectures of November 23, the practical part, and you can combine the theory lectures, MCQ, case study, practical part, everything would be covered. And that is why I chose to do this. I think that sounded better to me actually, and that's what the students are also saying, so I'm happy. Okay, thank you. So features of VAR again. Components of calculation. Number one, time period, then confidence level, and then loss in percentage or in amount. So basically what is the formula? VAR is equal to X into sigma, okay, and then it is like Z value. Yes, we will do that. I will do that. No, don't worry, Ria. So basically, guys, this SD. So where is time here? This X stands for your investment value. Okay. This is the SD. This is the SD for the period for which you are calculating VAR. For example, if they have given you the SD of per annum, and you want to calculate VAR for one day, you have to convert this annual SD into per day SD. Okay, that way. And Z is the value of the confidence. Depending if it is 5% VAR, Z value will be, critical value will be different. If it is 1% VAR, देखो ना जाकर के लेक्चर, वो वार का रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का पूरा एक टॉपिक दिया हुआ है. तुम देखो पूरा डायग्राम बना के समझाया मैंने उसके अंदर में. उसके बाद तुमको कभी डाउट आएगा ही नहीं तुमको वार के अंदर में. अभी थियोरी वाला पार्ट पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा, राइट? Okay, now here. So basically then components of calculations is done. Then it is a statistical. I will repeat for you. Don't have to worry. Zyada nahi bacha. It's like very small portion is left out. Okay, now So components of, repeat with me, components of VAR, number one, उसके अंदर में क्या क्या आएगा? Time horizon, then confidence level, and then VAR in terms of amount or percentage. Point number one. Point number two, a statistical method. So basically VAR is a statistical method which includes a standard deviation. Okay, then the third one, it will give you it uses probabilities actually. So basically you can calculate the probability of maximum loss. Point number three. Point number four, we use Z scores or Z critical values, wherein we multiply the Z score with the SD to get your VAR percentage for that matter. So look at this. How many points did we cover? Components of calculations, statistical method, time horizon. So VAR can be calculated for a day, for a week, for an year or something like that. Okay, then probability is covered, and risk control. You can try to control the risk with the help of VAR. Can you repeat with me? Number one, components of VAR, उसके अंदर का देख लेना बाद में. Components of VAR. Number two, statistical tool. It is a statistical tool, okay, which uses standard deviation. Number three, it uses Z scores. Number four, time horizon. That means you can calculate VAR for any period for that matter, and then you can use a VAR method to control the risk. And we are done on this. Again, these were features of VAR. Features of VAR. More to come. Application of VAR. So where would you apply VAR, guys, for that matter? Where would you apply VAR? Application of VAR. So we can the application of VAR, तुमको imagine करना पड़ेगा कौन कौन VAR को use करते हैं. सबसे पहले investor. So an investor, Z is Z. Are you aware of the fact that we have to use, like, kind of, give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. I'll show you what is Z. Give me 10 minutes. I'll show you what is Z. Okay? Because if I stop in between, the other students would be like possibly be getting disturbed. Is it fine for you? Just wait for 10 minutes. Let me finish this topic and then we can discuss on that if you want. Okay. Now, application of VAR. Application of VAR can be done by the investors to compute the maximum probable loss. Okay. Then it can be used by the banks for asset liability management. Number one, bolo mere saath mein. Number one, it can be used by an investor to calculate the maximum probable loss. It can be used by banks and financial institutions to manage their asset and liabilities, or asset liability management. देखो ये last वाला होगा. Number three, it can help the managers to basically understand the maximum loss. ये वाला point बोल रही हूँ. The trading strategies they can decide. Then it can be used as a benchmark of performance measurement. Point number two, and fix limits in the front office. फिर से repeat कर रही हूँ. Yes, we will cover in the derivatives. We will definitely cover the theory part. All the theory part which is like there, we will cover. That is why I have given 2 days to derivatives. एक बच्चा ये पूछ रहा है, Chandan is asking कि ma'am, will you cover the new theory amended part there? Yes, I will definitely cover. If I'm covering the theory, we will cover everything for that matter. Derivatives code, that is why I've given 2 days, because the maximum amendment in terms of theory component is in derivatives and business valuation. So we will have to cover that part. We don't have a choice. Okay, so again, applications of VAR, where will you, an investor can calculate the maximum probable loss. Then it can be used as a tool by the banks for asset liability management. Then the instructions can be given to the front office, देखो लिखा हुआ नहीं वाला, in the treasury department, and then it will help the management to decide on the trading strategies. Are you fine? Then example of VAR is given to you. I'm skipping that part. And the last part is appropriate methods for identification and management of. Correct. Even if you are able to remember 4, it will be like, it will be sorted for us. Even if you are able to like remember 4 to 5, you are not supposed to remember everything. It is not possible for anybody to do that. Me or you, it is not possible. And that too, so many chapters are already there. Okay, so appropriate method. This is again a very important topic in terms of theory के point of view से. Appropriate methods for identification and management of financial risk. What are they saying? So financial risk, we saw it was political risk. It was, you had like exchange rate risk, then you had interest rate risk, and you have counterparty risk. Okay, so they are saying how will you identify this risk and how will you manage them. So two parts are there. First of all, counterparty risk, how will you identify. So ये तो तुमको याद करना पड़ेगा, मेरे पास भी चॉइस नहीं है बहुत ज़्यादा, तो चार चार याद करो, हो जाएगा. Correct. So come again, let's cover that. Okay, now failure to obtain, this is very new, you will take some time to mug up with me. Failure to obtain resources for the project or any business. Okay, number one. Number two, then restrictions from the government. Counterparty risk की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे. Okay, तुम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करोगे कि काउंटरपार्टी रिस्क काइंड ऑफ है और उसको मैनेज कैसे करोगे, ये टॉपिक चल रहा है यहाँ पे. ओके, बोरिंग है थोड़ा, मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकती, जो लिखा हुआ वह पढ़ना पड़ेगा. आई डोंट हैव अ चॉइस. आई नो इट इज अ बिट बोरिंग. इफ इट इज बोरिंग फॉर यू, इट इज बोरिंग फॉर मी ऑल्सो, बट देन डू वी हैव अ चॉइस? नो. सो प्लीज स्टिक टू द लेक्चर एंड लेट्स डू वॉट एवर पॉसिबल. ओके, अच्छे से बोल रही हूँ. नंबर वन, सो इनएबिलिटी टू गेट रिसोर्सेस for the project or your business. Number two, then hostile behavior by the foreign government. Number three, they are saying that any regulatory restrictions from the government, then there can be like the company, the counterparty can become insolvent and let down by the third party. Speak with me. Number one, inability to procure resources for the project, hostile behavior by the foreign government, restrictions by the government, insolvent and let down by the third party. क्या बोल रहा है वो कि ये सब अगर दिखता है तुमको, ये सब रीजन हो सकते हैं काउंटर पार्टी डिफॉल्ट के. ओके, तो तुम उसको मैनेज कैसे करोगे? रिया, तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन समझ नहीं आया मेरे को. आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. रिया इज सेइंग मैम प्लीज एक्सप्लेन हाउ. विच वन? अच्छा, ओके ओके ओके. ये मतलब बेसिकली व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू से. ओके, आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू, डोंट वरी. सो दे आर सेइंग दैट हाउ विल यू बी एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई that your counterparty is going to default. Okay, so you will see na, if the जो तुम्हारा, suppose you are party A and there is somebody party B, possible? Okay, got it. So there is somebody, I am party A and Riya is party B. So what could be the reasons because of which Riya will default? That is what they are saying. So number one, Riya was supposed to supply something to me, some manufactured product, and she is not able to procure resources. Then Riya might face, or somebody, party B might face, okay, some restrictions from the government side. So she will not be able to deliver to me. Then there is a possibility that party B is exporting into India. I am supposed to get products, मतलब वहाँ से माल आने वाला है और सरकार ने वहाँ पे तुमको रेस्ट्रिक्शन लगा दिया, हॉस्टाइल हो गई गवर्नमेंट कि नहीं तुम नहीं भेज सकते. तो बेसिकली कहने का क्या मतलब है कि व्हाट कुड बी द सिचुएशंस वेयर योर काउंटर पार्टी कैन डिफॉल्ट. डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड नाउ? देन लेट डाउन बाय द थर्ड पार्टी. दैट मीन्स टू से अगर देयर आर पार्टी ए, पार्टी बी एंड पार्टी सी, तो अगर पार्टी सी ने लेट डाउन कर दिया पार्टी बी को, तो ऑब्वियस सी बात है पार्टी बी विल डिफॉल्ट definitely. Then agar party B becomes insolvent. So these are the identification. That is how you can imagine that your counterparty is going to default here. He will not be able to perform if he is like not able to get the resources. He will not be able to perform if there are some government restrictions coming on that party. He will not be able to perform if he is going to export goods from another country to me in India and the government there is stopping them. Then if the party becomes insolvent or if there is a letdown by third party, then samajh gaya. Okay, so what are the various techniques to manage? Correct. What are the techniques to manage? How can you avoid counterparty default? तो सबसे तुम बिना देखे बिना भी सोच सकते हो ना खुद से. नंबर वन, whenever you are entering into some kind of transaction with any party, okay, you should have a proper due diligence before entering into some kind of contract. Then do not, number two, you should have a proper due diligence. Number 2, you should not commit with a single entity or a group of connected entities, because if one fails, your business will be in a mess. Number 3, you should know your exposure limits or the exposure limits of the counterparty also. Suppose you want $1 million, suppose करो कि you want 1000 quantity of तुमको 1000 क्वांटिटी का माल चाहिए और सामने वाला बना ही नहीं सकता है, तो तुम ऑर्डर क्यों दे रहे हो उसको? तो यू शुड नो द एक्सपोजर लिमिट्स, खुद का भी पता होना चाहिए, सामने वाला का भी पता होना चाहिए तुमको. तो 3 points here. Then the fourth one, review the procedure and the credit that you are giving before you give. For example, what happens in businesses usually, okay, suppose I am giving credit to someone and the person is always fulfilling the promises जो भी ये सामने वाला fulfill करता है, you start trusting the person and then you give credit of a huge amount and then the person defaults. So even if the counterparty is very very good, very very like proper and honest and everything, you should keep a tab on how much credit you want to provide or to the सामने वाला person. Correct. So basically this is a very important topic guys, and there is a high probability that you will not be able to remember. Better होगा मेरे साथ एक बार फिर से बोलो. Okay, then there is someone, what is Sarvagya is trying to summarize everything for us. Thank you so much, Sarvagya, for that. Okay, so what counterparty risk, how will you identify? Number 1, not getting resources, restrictions from the government, hostile action by the foreign government, then let down by the third party, and last one, have become insolvent. So these are the ways you will be able to identify that your counterparty is going to default. How will you manage? You need to do proper due diligence before you enter into some kind of contract. You should know the exposure limits. You should review the credit amount of credit that you are going to give. Then you should definitely have some kind of insurance or performance guarantee. So you can do these things in order to avoid counterparty default. Khatam ho gaya. Then political risk. This is quite a boring part actually. I can see the students leaving out there. Okay, again. So political risk, how will you be able to identify the political risk तुमको आने वाला है? This how will you be able to identify? So basically they are saying if the foreign government is restricting you on the conversion, then expropriation of the foreign asset. Okay, not a problem. So political risk. They are saying, how will you be able to identify that there is going to be a political risk? Okay, number 1, they are saying insistence of residents and labor. Number 2, expropriation of your property. Number 3, then price के ऊपर में fixation. And number 3, restrictions on the conversion of the currency. These are the few hints with the help of which you will be able to understand that there is some risk which will lead to financial risk. How will you be able to avoid this? कैसे avoid करोगे? Number 1, before you invest in a foreign country, you should try to find out how cooperative the environment, the government and everything is. कैसे पता करोगे? Number 1, you can try to find out the ranking of that particular country in terms of the business support. मतलब तुम जाके पता लगाओ ना कि वो जो पर्टिकुलर कंट्री है जिसमें तुम बिजनेस सेट करने वाले हो, वहां पे फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को कितना कॉपरेट करते हैं. पॉइंट नंबर 1. देन host country means suppose I am investing in US RIA. Okay, if I suppose I invest in US, then US is the host country. That is the meaning of the host country. Suppose I am from India, I put up a project in US, so US will become the host country. Host country का मतलब समझता है क्या होता है? मेहमान. जहां तुम मेहमान हो ना, उसको होस्ट कंट्री कहते हैं. समझ आया? Correct. Ease of doing business. Yes. So what is the ranking of the country in support of the foreign investors? Number 1. Number 2, you should also see what is the macro micro environment of the country. For example, at this point of time, all the European countries are into like a lot of mess actually. So it will not be, for example, if you go and invest in Ukraine, suppose you go and invest in Mauritius, if you go and invest in such kind of country, you should not go and invest. So you should definitely go to read the macro microeconomic environment, and all the European countries including US are almost like into the deep recession. You should not invest. Correct. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3, you should also try to find out from the embassy's report that how good, for example, the embassies are placed there only. You should try to know from them that are things comfortable out there, then only you should go and invest. Fourth and the most important point I think is that basically guys, you know what, इसमें लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे that you should try to find out the popularity of the government. For example, US में there is Republican government and Democratic government. Should try to see कि भाई इनका agenda क्या होता है दोनों का. So depending on the kind of the government and the cooperative nature and the popularity of the government with respect to the cooperation and everything, then only should go and invest. So क्या लिखा है यहाँ पे political risk में? Number 1, insistence on resident, investor or labor, expropriation of the property, price fixation and restriction on the conversion of the currency are the, मतलब ये चीजें देख के तुमको समझ आ जाना चाहिए कि यहाँ पे रिस्क डेवलप हो रहा है. लेकिन तुम मैनेज कैसे कर सकते हो? You should have done a lot of research and study before you went and invested there. कैसे करोगे? Popularity of government you should check. Then you should also check through the embassies. You should check with the help of the microeconomic environment and many more things for that matter. Correct. Thank you. This is English only. What English revision? This is like 80%, 90% of me speaking English only. What else? Somebody is asking when the English revision will become. This is English only, na? I'm not speaking too much of Hindi out there. I am rarely speaking a single line. I mean, are you talking about the practical part or something? Then, further following techniques can be used to mitigate the risk: local sourcing of the raw materials and labor, then entering into joint ventures, okay, and local financing and prior negotiations. Then you can like try to mitigate this risk, okay. 2 points more. Interest rate risk. How will you be able to know? This is something you should be able to speak on your own. How will you know there is something interest rate risk coming on? मतलब interest rate बढ़ने वाला है, घटने वाला है, कैसे पता चलेगा? Monetary policy of the government. Then you can also see exchange rate behavior. You can see interest rate behavior. You can see inflation rate behavior. You can try to see the economic growth. You can see the industrial data. On the basis of that, you will be able to see where are interest rates going. And not last but not the least, the US Fed rate. US Fed rate decides a lot of things across the world in terms of the interest rate. For example, if there is too much of inflation, naturally they are going to increase interest rates for that matter. And currency risk कैसे पता करोगे? So currency risk में what are the factors that can affect the exchange rate? So number 1, the natural calamities can affect your exchange rate. Then wars and rebellion can affect your exchange rates. Then interest rates can affect your exchange rates. Then inflation rates can affect your exchange rates. And then they have written change of government can affect. With this, we are done, guys. So again, you can repeat with me. Okay, so they are saying here that how will you be able to understand that interest rates are changing? Number 1, the monetary policy of the government. Then you can also see the industrial data, then stock market behavior, then the foreign investment, and then they've also given currency risk, inflation rate, interest, and so on. Gujarati, I don't know how to speak Gujarati. Just asking one thing, कुछ help हुई कि ऐसे ही निकल गया पूरा? कुछ help हुई है तुम्हारी कि ऐसे ही खत्म हो गया ये? थोड़ा सा पढ़ लोगे अभी, बिकॉज ये बोरिंग हो जाता है कुछ. इफ देयर इज समथिंग वेयर आई कैन एक्सप्लेन ना, इट बिकम्स बेटर. सो मे बी द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर वुड बी बेटर. एडवांस कैपिटल बजटिंग थियरी वुड बी बेटर. ओके, so what did we study today? We studied what is the strategy risk. We studied what is compliance risk. Repeat with me. We studied strategy risk. We studied compliance risk. We studied operational risk. We studied financial risk. Under financial risk, we studied. It is helping. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Financial risk के अंदर में what did you study? You studied counterparty risk. You studied political risk. You studied like interest rate risk. You studied liquidity risk, and you studied exchange rate risk. Correct na? Then evaluation of financial risk from the perspective of stakeholders, from the perspective of government, and from the perspective of companies. Correct na? Then they've given one topic, war. So in war, we learned the definition of war as per Wikipedia. Then there were features of war. तो features of war में क्या क्या था? Components of war, then time horizon, then probability, statistical tool, and Z score, and all that, risk control. then we have kind of applications of VAR. An investor can use to calculate the maximum probable loss. A manager can use to kind of to set his investment limits and all. बहुत सारा दिया हुआ है यार, मुझे भी याद नहीं आ रहा है. चलेगा, perfect है, perfect है. So this is done. What I am saying is that guys, kind of we should go to the sheet. अभी questions बाकी है भाई, questions बाकी है. Start हो जाओ, चलो start quickly. Start. पक्का रखूंगी. Okay, can we start guys here? Are you ready? Are we ready? अभी बातें नहीं करो, फटफट खत्म करके जाके पढ़ाई करो, एग्जाम का टाइम हो गया है. Okay, so risk adjusted. Have you studied capital budgeting, advanced capital budgeting? There is something called risk adjusted rate. Let me see. This is not, so let me tell you something. These questions up to question number 7, wait a minute, 7. Up to question number 7, this one, these are my questions. I have developed these questions. Okay, and after this, some student told me that, ma'am, why don't you do ICI questions also in the class? So these are ICI questions again. So till question number 7, these are mine questions. After that, we can do ICI questions also. Okay? Very good. Which of the following risk will not affect foreign exchange rate? Which of the following risk will not affect the foreign exchange rate? Inflation will affect foreign exchange rate. Interest rate risk will affect foreign exchange rate. Yes? 2 का आंसर बोल रहे हो? ऐसे लिखो, 2 का A, else I will not be able to understand. ऐसा लिखो. So what is the answer for 2? I will give you the PDF. You will get the PDF on my Telegram group. You will get the PDF on my Telegram group. I will post the sheet PDF the moment I finish my lecture today. Okay? No. अरे नहीं, क्या बोल रहे हो तुम सबका गलत है. 2 का D कैसे होगा? अरे रे 2 का A आंसर होगा भाई. 2 का आंसर A होगा. I tell you why D will not be the answer. This is 2 का आंसर A होगा. Why? I tell you. They are saying which of the following risk will not affect foreign exchange rate. So inflation will affect the exchange rate. Interest, PPP theory. Interest rate will affect IRP theory. Sovereign risk means, you know what is sovereign risk? Sovereign risk is like, for example, I'll give an example. Wait a minute. So basically, if suppose the government of any country becomes bankrupt, all of you will answer, okay? If government of any country becomes bankrupt, like they are saying that Mauritius is going to become bankrupt, or Sri Lanka became bankrupt, will the exchange rate between rupee and Sri Lankan currency get affected or not? Yes or no? Government risk, yes. We can say this is government risk. All the people who wrote answer as D, tell me one thing. If suppose risk, the government of that particular country getting into some kind of problem, so tell me whether the exchange rate will get affected or not. Yes, very good. The purpose of financial swap is to reduce. Question number 3, guys. The purpose of financial swap is to reduce what? Third question, you will write like this, 3A, 3B, like this, okay? Otherwise, I will not be able to understand. The purpose of financial swap is to reduce what? Interest rate risk, exchange rate risk, credit risk, and both A and B. 3 का आंसर इज डी. यस, इट इज करेक्ट. 3 का आंसर इज डी. A swap, a financial swap is used. Yes, a financial swap is used to reduce interest rate risk and exchange rate risk. Definitely, guys. Yes, 3 ka D's answer is correct. So the up to 7, these are, I tried to work out on the questions. After 7, I've taken ICI questions also from the BIOS portal. Which of the following is called governance risk? What governance risk? Corporate governance. What is, first of all, listen to me. What is corporate governance? Corporate governance, for example, they say that Tatas are highly high in terms of corporate governance in comparison to Reliance. That means a very, very independent board which does not think of only the promoters, it thinks about all the investors across. Correct na? Okay, तो 4 का आंसर बोलो. नहीं, 4 का आंसर बी आंसर होगा. यस, बी आंसर होगा. 4 का आंसर बी होगा. Ineffective and unethical management of the company by its executives and managerial levels. 4 का आंसर बी होगा भाई. यस, 4 का आंसर बी होगा. एंड सी, एक बात और, लिसन टू मी वेरी केयरफुली. लिसन टू मी. Most important thing here, don't take it to your this thing heart. Don't, if you are coming out with a wrong answer, suppose, don't take it to your heart. हम लोग क्यों कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? Why are we doing this exercise here? So that you do not come out with wrong answers in the paper. Imagine there is nobody, we do not have any questions out there from the ICI side in real terms, okay? So if you are getting a few questions more, where you are coming to know more, it is good ना. अच्छा तो है. गलत हो रहा है तो होने दो ना. यहाँ गलत हो रहा है, वहां नहीं होगा. तुमको पता चला ना, अगर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस का क्वेश्चन आया तो तुमको ये आंसर करना है. यू गॉट टू नो दैट. इट्स गुड. सो डोंट टेक इट टू हार्ट. अरे मेरा गलत हो गया. यहाँ गलत होना ही चाहिए, तभी तो सही होगा वहां पे. हाँ, यू आर हियर टू लर्न, नॉट टू राइट. कोई ईगो इशू थोड़ी कि मेरा सब सही होना चाहिए. हम सीख रहे हैं, मुझसे भी गलत हो सकता है, इसमें क्या है? सो जस्ट रिलैक्स ऑन दैट पार्ट. गुड ना. एंड एक्सेस पेमेंट, केयरफुल. डोंट बी इन अ रश टू आंसर. An excess payment made to a vendor which is accounted correctly would be categorized under which of the following risk? An excess payment to the vendor, okay? क्या लिखा हुआ है? 5th का आंसर क्या दिया है? Okay. So 5th का, an excess payment to made a vendor which is accounted correctly, okay, which would be categorized under which of the following risk? Tell me guys. 5 का आंसर क्या होगा? 5 का आंसर डी होगा. 5 का आंसर डी होगा भाई. An excess payment made to a vendor which is accounted correctly would be categorized under which of the following risk? You made an excess payment, would lead to financial risk. 5 का आंसर डी होगा. ये लोग सब ऑडिट और एफआर में फंसे हुए हैं. फाइव का डी आंसर होगा. यस. ए. 6, नहीं, ऑपरेशनल रिस्क रिया अलग है. बट अगर चॉइस नहीं है रिया तो तुम फाइनेंशियल रिस्क ही करोगे. If there is no other choice, then it has, because it will lead to like financial problems only. If you have overpaid somewhere, because if it was operational risk दिया हुआ होता तो बात अलग होती. Correct. Then 6A, dash is the threat that an event or action will adversely affect an enterprise ability to maximize stakeholders' value and to achieve its business objectives. Listen to me carefully now. Okay, this is a bit complicated. Listen to me now carefully. So basically the shareholders value, okay, क्या लिखा है? A dash is a threat that an event or action will adversely affect an enterprise ability to maximize. When will the stakeholders value not maximized? When you are, see, a stakeholder faces 2 types of risk. a business risk and a financial risk. Business risk is about the fact that the company will not be able to generate revenues for the company. That is the business risk, which is faced by every participant in the industry. समझ आ रहा मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? ये जो इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर होता है ना, उसको दो रिस्क फेस होते हैं, एक बिजनेस रिस्क और एक फाइनेंशियल रिस्क. Business risk is faced by every participant that they will not be able to generate revenues. If they are not generating revenues, then their PAT will be affected. If PAT is affected, then your reserves would be affected. Financial risk is with respect to the gearing level or debt equity ratio. अब बताओ कौन सा? Yes, business risk. Very good. Very good. हैं? 6 का B आंसर होगा. This topic is a bit confusing actually, because eventually I can very much prove that इसका ये रिस्क है, ऐसा इसमें गड़बड़ नहीं है, तो थोड़ा मुश्किल है ये. See ना, यहाँ लिखा हुआ है, look at this, business objective. So I'm saying that a stakeholder and equity faces two risk, business risk and financial risk. अगर उन लोगों ने लिखा होता, if they would have written that, if they would have written that the equity is facing a risk because of the higher debt equity level, then financial risk. But if a equity stakeholder is facing a risk because the company will not be able to meet its business objectives, then it is definitely facing business risk. Did you understand now? I am saying equity stakeholder faces two kinds of risk. Number one, business risk, and number two, financial risk. Okay, so if the company is not able to generate enough revenues, okay, and then it is facing business risk. And if the company is if the stakeholders are facing risk because of higher debt equity ratio, then it is financial risk. समझ में आया सबको? Crystal. Got it, all of you? Okay. So the 7th question. Correct. It is okay. It is okay. This is quite confusing topic actually. This is a bit difficult. Till the time the question is very, very clear, it is a bit difficult. Now, the students of Dash University were given with the following statements to classify them into appropriate risk type. Correct. The students of Dash University were given with the following statements to classify them into appropriate risk type. I'll tell you, Chandan. I'll tell you. Give me 2 minutes. The 1931, ready all of you? The 1931 liquidity risk of New York banks of the United States resulted in the biggest bank run in the American history, as the bank did not have enough cash, okay, to repay people's deposits when it became due. It collapsed under $200 million worth of debt. Okay. Can I read this question? Statement A is what? I'll show you. फिर से पढ़ो. The 1931 liquidity risk of the answer is given in the question only. Okay. The 1931 liquidity risk of New York's Bank of the United States resulted in the biggest bank run, as the bank did not have enough cash. अरे तुम लोग क्या बोल रहे हो यार? Did not have enough cash to repay people's deposits when it became due. Yes, it has to be liquidity risk, na? We already learned that. It collapsed under $200 million worth of debt. It is liquidity risk. B answer होगा. It is liquidity risk, yes. Got it? It is liquidity risk. We had जाके एक काम करो, तुम्हारे पास में theory अगर है तो मैं दिखा दूं क्या तुमको? देखो दिखाती हूँ. 1 मिनट रुक जाओ. Give me a second. Don't worry. Give me a second. देखो क्या लिखा है? Broadly, the liquidity risk can be defined as the inability of the organization to meet the liabilities whenever they become due. This type of risk is more prevalent in the banking business, where there may be mismatch in the maturities and receiving the cash deposits. Okay, ठीक है ना? चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So liquidity risk. ठीक है? Number B. Be careful this time. Don't be in a rush to answer. Mr. Tony, a businessman, run a clothing wholesale business, okay, limited to the New York City of America. To expand the business, he started providing large credits to its customers without proper evaluation of their backgrounds. This will lead to what? They are not evaluating the background of their clients. क्या होगा आंसर? They are not evaluating the background of their clients. Tell me the answer for this question. यहां पे है बाबा, इसमें से चूज करो इसमें से. स्टेटमेंट बी. It is given na here. Statement B is what? Credit risk, exactly. Yeah, that's okay. Very good. It is correct. It is counterparty risk and it will involve. So all the people who answered counterparty risk is good enough answer. Okay. Within counterparty risk, you have default risk and credit risk. Very good. Very good. Very good. Now the next one. Okay. Next one. C. Now, a department store has historically been the destination for purchasing high quality clothing for affordable pricing. Okay, be careful, don't answer in a rush. आराम से बोलना. As fashion trend changes, store managers consider partnering with the luxury clothing brand to sell its products at their store. However, the difference in the inventory causes a risk, so the managers launch a rebranding campaign to changing the business model. Changing the business model. Okay, what is that? What are they doing? So they were doing in the affordable segment. Now they are changing into luxury item. What kind of, which one is answer for C? Tell me now. Okay, they said, which one will be the answer? All of you, which one will be the answer? Statement C के लिए which one will be the answer? Strategy risk. Yes, it is a strategy risk. बिल्कुल ठीक. You were doing business in the affordable segment. Now you are going to do business in the, so you are changing the strategy of your business. It is not interest rate risk. It is not liquidity risk. It is not political. It has to be strategy risk. Very good. Very good. Now, be very careful before you start answering again. Okay, be very, very careful. Now, a bartender cannot attend their shift on a busy Saturday night. Very good, all of you. It is a strategy risk. So the manager assigns a server. क्या बोल रहा है पता है? On a Saturday, there is a bartender. The bartender is like who like mixes all the drinks and serves to the people. So on a Saturday night, it is too much of a rush in the bar or the restaurant, whatever. So server is what like a waiter. Okay, उसको सिखाया गया. So the manager assigns a server to make drinks for the customers instead. The server takes a lot of time to learn how to fulfill the orders and remain attentive to the new patrons approaching the bar. To remedy the risk, the manager develops a training program that teaches every employee the basics of every role so that the staff can cover the shifts if necessary. I'm going to the question here. Statement D is what? जल्दी आंसर बोलो. So the risk related to people or processes is what? Operational risk. Very good. Operational risk is the answer. It is operational risk. Very good. Okay, very, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Now the last one. You cannot imagine how much I had to put in to develop these statements actually, because I could not get anything on the internet also. So, but ठीक है, if as long as you are happy, I am happy. So an investor buys a 5-year 500 bond 3% coupon then interest rate rise to 4%, the investor will have trouble selling the bond when newer bond offerings with a more attractive rates enter the market. Ye to this should be coming correct for everybody. What kind of risk is this? That means to say, you know what is the question? The question is that suppose you buy a bond, okay, and the interest rates increase. So if the interest rates increase, the value of the bond will go down. What kind of risk is this? Interest rate risk. Yes. Thank you. Yes, very good, very good, very good. Ready all of you? Chalo, start. ICI questions now. These are ICI questions from the BOS portal. Okay. Give me a second. मैं तुम लोग के chat ही देख रही हूँ. Okay. So which type of risk occurs when a counterparty fails to honor their obligations? Ready? Which type of risk occurs when a counterparty fails to honor their obligations? Answers, please. C is the answer. Ria Goel is saying answer is C. Yes, very good. This is ICI. They would be more. You will be more happy this time because these questions are ICI questions. You are very happy. Okay, my answers of ICI questions are correct. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अर्चना मैम का नहीं सही हुआ तो कोई बात नहीं. ICI का तो मेरा सही हो गया. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. Very good. This is the correct answer. Which type of risk is very good? Very good. Which type of risk is primarily faced by a company? Okay, when it ventures into a new industry or geographical area, okay, with completely different laws and regulations. Very, very easy actually. They have done it very easy. Which one? Question number 2 का answer बोलो भाई. Which one is the answer? Question number 2. Which type of risk is primarily faced by? 2 का answer is B. That's correct. Two ka B is answer correct. Now, which of the following techniques can be used to manage counterparty? Which of the following techniques can be used to manage counterparty risk? Okay, local sourcing of raw material and labor? No. Evaluating countries' microeconomic conditions? No. Rapid action in the event of any likelihood of defaults and entering into joint ventures. Question number 3 ka answer bolo. Rapid action in the events of, yes, compliance. 3 का आंसर इज सी. यस, करेक्ट करेक्ट. तुम लोग मुझे लगता है पढ़ के आए. यू गाइस हैव ऑलरेडी डन दिस क्वेश्चंस. आई फील दैट इज व्हाई यू आर कमिंग आउट विद करेक्ट, और यू जस्ट अंडरस्टूड, और यू हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड दिस क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द बीएस पोर्टल. आई एम नॉट श्योर. ओके, देन डैश इज एसोसिएटेड विद 2 का बी. या दैट्स करेक्ट, दैट इज करेक्ट. ओके, 3 4. Okay, now is associated with the diffusion of economic crisis throughout a market assets or geographical region. Dash is associated, okay, with diffusion of economic crisis throughout a market assets class or geographical region. बोलो भाई. देखो आंसर भी दिया है मैंने यहाँ पे, तुमको आंसर भी दिया हुआ है, सब देख लेना बाद में. Dash is associated with the diffusion of economic crisis throughout a market assets class or geographical region. They have not given this. This is something new, and the answer is contagion risk. C is answer, guys. C is answer. I don't know from where have they got this contagion risk. अच्छा सुनो मेरी बात, सुनो. नहीं, आंसर इज सी. आंसर इज सी. आंसर इज सी. आई टेल यू व्हाट, ये लिख लो यहाँ पे. व्हाट इज कंटेजियन रिस्क? सो कंटेजियन रिस्क इज लाइक, सुनो तो मेरी बात, कंटेजियन रिस्क लाइक, यू नो, काइंड ऑफ द financial crisis of 2007-8 was what is contagious? First of all, tell me what is contagious. Have you thought of what is contagious? Contagious means which spreads from one person to another, right? No, that is contagious. That's what I'm explaining. What is contagious? Contagious is that when some disease spreads from one person to another. For example, COVID-19 was a contagious disease. Okay. So when something happens in the market, okay, which spills over, मतलब basically कैसे बोल सकते बता, it affects all the markets, all the assets, like the crisis of 2007-8 to 2007-8 crisis. You know, when the Lehman brothers, because of the derivatives, what happened now? So everything, it engulfs everything, all the markets. So engulfs markets, asset classes, and regions. You can say it is like a COVID-19. You can say that. Yes, you can say that. So contagion is associated with diffusion of economic crisis throughout a market, asset class, or geographical region. Okay, so you can say, like, the best example is the crisis of 2007, the financial crisis of 2007-8. The whole world got affected because of that. Okay, so that is called contagion risk. I'm sure all of you are happy with that now. Question number 5. Dash is associated with diffusion of economic. ये तो बार-बार हो रहा है. दोबारा हो गया, रहने दो. 2 बार हो गया ये. 6. 1 year VAR is a portfolio is rupees 10 crore with a confidence of 95%. This means, क्या लिखा है? 1 year VAR of a portfolio is, look, be careful while you are answering this. 1 year VAR, okay, of a portfolio is rupees 10 crores with a confidence of 95%. Careful. This means there is a 5% probability that the loss will be rupees 10 crores at the end of the year. Okay. The loss will not exceed 9 point. ये तो है ही नहीं. ये तो है ही नहीं. The worst expected portfolio loss over 1 year will not exceed 10 crore with a 95% confidence. Okay, can I explain this? Can I explain this in my own words? Will you be able to answer then? Let me explain. So when you say 95%, okay, 95%, okay, confidence level, see, confidence of 95%, correct? That means VAR, 1 year VAR 5%. How do you interpret this? This means there is a 5% probability that your losses will be more than, that your losses will be 10 crore or more. यार ये वार का वैल्यू है. वार is like rupees 10 crore. Okay, it is not the portfolio value. So this means that there is a 5% probability that the losses will be 10 crore or more. Which one is the answer? But it also means that there is a 95% probability that your losses will be less than 10 CR. There is a 90. They're saying 1 year VAR. You will have to take care of this now. This means the worst expected portfolio loss over 1 year will not exceed 10 crore. Answer will not be, guys, this one. The answer has to be, I think, C. देखो तो क्या है इनका आंसर? C है. आंसर C होगा भाई. और more होना चाहिए. See, why A is not the answer, I tell you. Why C is not the answer, I tell you. There is a 5% probability. Look at this. There is a 5% probability that losses will be greater than 10 crore in an year. Okay, and there's a 95% probability that the losses will not exceed 10 crore. अभी बताओ आंसर कौन सा है? अभी समझा इन लोग को, राइट? सो वाई there is a 5% probability, समझ लो अच्छा रहेगा, explain कर रही हूँ, सुन लो ध्यान से. The loss will not exceed 9.5 crore, ये तो है ही नहीं, ये तो है ही नहीं. The worst the investor can presume that there is a 95% chance of loss over a trading year will exceed rupees. No, this will not be the answer. Okay, there is a 5%, ये भी नहीं होगा. तो C is your answer ना? C is your answer. Will be equal to 10 crore. They are saying equal to, it is not equal to 10 crore. It will be great 10 crore or more. And that is why A is not your answer. We are done, guys, with this. So be very careful while you're answering these questions, guys. Be very, very careful. So there is a 5% probability that your losses will be 10 crore or more in a given year. There is a 95% probability that you will have losses less than 10 crore, okay? Or it will not exceed 10 crore. Aap samjha? All of you are good, guys. Can we wind up the lecture for today? So day after tomorrow, we are going to have advanced capital budgeting lecture. Advanced capital budgeting lecture. This topic was definitely confusing. I tried my level best, whatever I could. Okay, even if you have learned to some extent, I am more than happy. Okay, so please, thank you so much. Good night. Keep studying. Okay, कुछ तो हो ही गया होगा ना. Something I would have been able to help you out on, like, you know, kind of in comparison to before, something at least. I'm sure you'll be able to attempt questions now in comparison to before, and that is the idea actually. But yeah, you cannot, I cannot like say that don't revise, don't study. You will have to revise and study. I can do that. I will do that. I will upload this board notes on my Telegram channel. My Telegram channel. Can you please somebody share the Telegram channel का? Please कोई तो यहाँ पे share कर दो ID. मैं कर दूँ क्या? मैं कर दूँ? रुक जाओ. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll do that. So, अच्छा already join. Copy. I'll go to the, acha, okay, somebody asked me, yes, Chandan, I remember that. Somebody asked me that what is, ma'am, enterprise risk? So in very short, I can say that enterprise risk is like any risk that you anticipate, any kind of risk that you anticipate which will restrict in achieving your company's goals is enterprise risk management. हिंदी में अगर सुनोगे चंदन तो इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि तुम्हारी कंपनी का कोई एक गोल है, उस गोल को अचीव करने में जो भी तुमको रिस्क हैं बीच में आते हैं उसको मैनेज करना ही एंटरप्राइज रिस्क मैनेजमेंट कहते हैं. ओके, आयुष प्लीज शेयर कर दे. डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड? सो मे बी सेकेंड वाला चल रहा है ना तुम्हारा. So this is the ID of my Telegram channel. So all of you can join there actually. So, okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night. Chandan, are you fine? Okay, good. Chalo, bye-bye. So day after tomorrow, we are going to have advanced capital budgeting ka theory. This will be a very, very important lecture for Khetan education students also, because I have not given them theory. In the theory book also, advanced capital budgeting theory has not been given. So this is a good opportunity for all of you, wherein you will be able to learn the whole topic. So this is for all the topics I have given. The amendment lectures of theory are also given in the hard print, but I have not given for advanced capital budgeting because I already had this in my plan. So it will be good if all of you can attend. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.